decided to start my video blog challenge with something I'm kind of familiar with. I touched on it last time, but it's getting older. And as I get older, of course, not only are there some challenges, there's some observations I made, but I kind of look at life a little differently today than I did when I was a youngster. For instance, for some reason, reflecting back, I remember something from, maybe 60 years ago or so. On the street where I live, there was a great big RV driving down the road, and it was going to come down in front of me. I kind of, for some reason, I stopped playing in the front yard, and I was fascinated by that great big RV and the people driving it. They weren't youngsters, not by any means. They were what looked to me, I'm 8. I probably figured they were in their 80s. I couldn't figure out why in the world people that old would be driving an RV. Why? How could they do that? How could they even drive an RV? And move around and all that. But some 60 years later, now, of course, I look at things a little differently. I've gotten into writing. I've even done a little bit of poetry. And as I started thinking about that, I wrote something called The Big RV. It kind of reflects back on that time. And here's what I wrote. It's called The Big RV. When I was a youngster, graying hair and skin of leather, I once did see behind the wheel of a big RV. To my surprise and great chagrin, more hair of gray and leathery skin I was to see emerging from that big RV. They are way too old and full of mold. They must be at least 83. They have no business in that big RV. At home and resting, they ought to be aging. They should not be in that big RV. The challenges of my younger life are no longer such a strife, for I can negotiate, you see, the wheel of a big RV. So it is with hair of gray and skin so leathery, I can proclaim with jubilee, in my driveway sits that big RV. So kind of long life has a tendency to provide us with the tools to, of course, understand things differently and negotiate through our challenges of life. I don't know. Like I said, I've decided to use this blog as a way to kind of reflect back and hopefully go on with some of the challenges. But some of these observations that I've noticed, I bet you have noticed them too. I wrote a few of them down. These are just a few. There are more to come. And I'm only going to give you 3 or 4 tonight. The next one will do something different. But how many of you, let's say my age or so, can remember going down the road, a truck with the name of the business on its doors? You don't see that anymore today. How about, have you ever tried to talk to a live person on a telephone? How do you do that? Everything is internet. How do you talk to somebody on a telephone? And if you have a problem, how do you try to talk face-to-face to try to get it resolved? How about maybe you go to Walmart or someplace like that, you just try to get a tube of toothpaste, the kind that you've always gotten, but suddenly that particular brand has whitening and non-whitening and decay preventative. And so how do you know? It used to be so simple. You just get a tube of toothpaste, and that's all you did. 1973. This is probably the last example for tonight. 1973, I had a Dodge Dart Sport. It was a beautiful car. It had a 3/4 vinyl roof on it. It wasn't really anything fancy. Didn't even have air conditioning. And it had 460, well, actually it was 460 air conditioning. You rolled the windows down for the air conditioning. That car cost me in 1973, my first car, cost me $2,600. If you were to buy a car like that today, with no frills, probably is going to cost you about $17,000. Things are really, really changing on us, but we have to learn how to negotiate through them. So that's going to be it for this edition. As I said, I was going to try to keep them a little shorter. So I hope you're getting something out of this. I hope you're at least liking it a little bit. I'm going to try to liven them up a little bit. We'll see what happens. Until the next time, I will see you.